Hello there, and welcome to Pink Milk, your Star Wars podcast for us super fans.
And those of us who are forced to listen to them.
Today is someday, and someday we're speaking with a High Republic queen herself.
And we're back.
We're back. Thomas, are you ready?
I'm ready.
It's time to drink up.
Drink up.
Hello there, Pop Pop.
Hello there.
How are you?
I am well. How are you doing?
I am super.
You
Thank
are super. And you're welcome.
Feeling super duper as I drive my Mini Cooper. You know I'm justified.
Yes, you're justified.
Did you even know that was Madonna?
Not at all, actually.
Oh, my goodness.
Sorry, Emma.
Yeah. Well, if this is your first time here to Pink Milk, welcome aboard. I hope you enjoy Pink Milk because we serve lots of milk here. Star Wars is known for its milk, but we serve it pink.
Boom.
I'm your host, Brian. With me, as always, is my better half and your much better host, Thomas.
Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. All hail the welcomes. This has been, we've had a little bit of a break.
Yes, we have. Our summer ending break.
Yeah, we took some time off for Labor Day. I am still wearing white because I can.
And to get the kids back in school on their routines and sports and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, you know, I felt like the summer was busy, and this is probably every parent everywhere all the time. I thought I was busy before, but now I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I have no time. I'm tired.
Well, now we have kids in different schools.
Multiple sports.
Middle school, elementary school. So
Soccer, karate.
3 different sports. Yep.
Karate. And cross country, which yesterday we went to our very first cross country meet, right? Is that what it's called? I keep wanting to call it a game, and I keep getting corrected. I was unexpectedly emotional at the end when I saw my little son after he ran his first race.
Mm-hmm. He did great.
Yeah, he really did.
I was impressed. Yeah,
they work really hard, and we live here in Tatooine. If you haven't listened before, we're in the Southwest, so it was like 111 yesterday. So these kids are also running in 111 degrees, and still kicking butt
and not complaining, which is the interesting thing. We're complaining, standing there watching them, but
I may or may not have taken a 2-hour nap after I got home.
Definitely underline may.
Plus, and double underline did.
Plus.
Well, Thomas, how was your break? What's your favorite thing you got to do?
Gosh, my favorite thing.
Send
I
the
don't know.
kids
I
back to
worked.
school?
I don't know. It was a busy break. It's almost like we come back from. This is the vacation to come back to the podcast. To be honest.
Oh, I like that.
You know, I'm good.
You are good. You are good. You know who else are good?
The kids.
The people who listen to the show. Tom.
Oh yeah, those.
We're growing on YouTube. We're up to over 450 YouTube followers now. We're up to 53 reviews.
Ooh.
Yes. Write some more reviews, please. I love it.
And thank you.
And thank you very much. We've got a couple more 1 stars. They never have the guts to say anything, so I just think they're homophobes.
Us? We got 1 stars?
Yeah, we have a few.
Really?
I really think it's just homophobes.
Okay.
That's okay. Bring it. So,
we
anyways,
love everybody equally.
Except for those people. But if you're listening to this and you've listened before but haven't written us a review yet, please head on over to Apple iTunes and leave us a review. It really, really does help. If you have not yet subscribed to YouTube, do that too. I really think we're working on bringing more content to YouTube as well. So keep an eye out there. I like YouTube. It's a lot of fun.
I watch it a lot.
Up and at 'em. I don't know why. You probably don't even watch Up and At 'em that often, but it's the thing that sticks in my head the most, and I feel like you watch Up and At 'em like all the time.
Which is really just the last couple of weeks because of the Erica Girardi garbage. But other than that...
So I mentioned it, I think, in my interview that's coming up that you're going to listen to here in a few minutes. I may or may not have mentioned how you like all of that, but I think I called it Desperate Housewives, and I also think I called her Tara Diaguardi. And who's Tara Diaguardi? Because I think that's someone, but that's not this person.
Yeah, years ago when we watched American Idol, she was the judge.
Okay, so come to the Pink Milk where I can misquote shows, I can slander celebrities who aren't involved with other things, but I'm going to talk about them anyways. And also, eventually Tom and I do play lots of trivia. Neither one of us are good. But it's kind of fun. We do trivia sometimes on After Dark, where After Dark is our live stream show, where it's myself, Emma, Chase, and Mark. All of us are super fans. So you would think that the trivia would go better there. Does it, though? Not really. They get embarrassed. I don't really care. Personally. Whatever. I'm just here to have fun.
Me too.
So hopefully you have some fun too. This interview was so great, and I can't wait for you to listen to it. Do you have anything else you want to say, Thomas?
Thank you for having us back.
All right. Get ready to listen to myself speak with the wonderful, the amazing. I had such a joyous conversation with her, so I really, really hope that joy comes through when you're listening now, because she was so fantastic. And get ready to listen to Justina, Ireland from the High Republic. Are you ready, Thomas?
I'm ready.
Drink up.
Drink up.
Well, welcome everyone back to Pink Milk, and the fantastic and fabulous Justina Ireland is here with us this morning, at least IRL. It's morning time on a Sunday. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
It is going super, super, super. Real quick, we are recording this on September 12th of 2021, and I want to make sure that we do another thank you to everyone that we lost 20 years ago. It's a hard time for all of us in this country, in the world, possibly. I don't know. But here, I think it's a solemn day. And I always want to make sure we pay respect to all of those that came before, especially when we're talking about Star Wars and a group of people that sacrificed themselves for the greater good and for people all around them. And the Jedi that our wonderful writer here writes, who those Jedi stand by those beliefs very much. And so thank you to everyone and to the families left behind. We are still here with you, and we will never forget you. So on that somber note, welcome. Excuse me. It's very important. It was, yeah. But
yeah, it was, I mean, I think it's also weird because I have a 13-year-old. So, and my husband and I were both on active duty when September 11th happened. Yeah. We were both Arab linguists. So we did like collections and stuff. And so it was weird because when it happened, I just remember it was like one of those like watershed moments where like, there's always those pivot moments where like everyone responds sort of thing. And it's weird, like to see, yesterday watching like some of the, of course in my town, like the VFW and the American Legion always do like a flag thing. And, but it was weird because especially since we're on the East Coast, it seems like it's way more visceral here. Like, most of the places around here, you can still find the pieces of like the Twin Towers, like a lot of places they took pieces and set up memorials and stuff. And it's weird to talk to her about it because for her, it's like, it's a thing that they talk about in history. Right. And it's weird. It's like, for us, it's like, it's this thing that like changed our 20s. Like it really changed our lives. Like it changed our military careers. Right. Because before that we were sort of like a peacetime army and nobody, like there wasn't a lot of deployments. The operations tempo was pretty sedate. And then afterwards, like everyone was going all the time. And it's just weird when you we talk about it, like it's been 20 years, but yet it doesn't feel, it's one of those things that doesn't feel like it's been 20 years. And I can only imagine for the families who lived through this and to realize it's been so long and then still have, that loss, that grief. Like, it's just, a really big thing. I don't necessarily know that we appreciate it as much, as transformative it was for the American, political system and our psyches and everything else. I think I think this is going to be one of those moments where, like, another 30, 40 years from now, historians are going to point to that, like, yeah, that moment is where America changed again, right? Like, we have, we have like the Spanish-American War in the late 1800s, and then we have like World War I, and we have World War II, and then we have like the Civil Rights Movement. And I think 9/11 is going to be another one of those like pivot points where you can see nothing was the same afterwards. So I do think it's not Star Wars, but I do think it informs a lot of. I think it informs a lot of our Star Wars too. I mean, to be honest, like a lot of the Star Wars we've gotten after that has been very different. So,
I agree. I think if you lived through it, you're just different. If you were like an adult living through it, you are just not the same person again. And, sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worst.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I remember I wrote a bunch of poetry during that time because I was, 20 and in college, and that's what 20 liberal arts college students do, right? And I still reread them on that day a lot just to bring myself back to where I was. And I remember writing one poem some point around it, and I remember all of the American flags that were on, and what a capitalist society it is, and all the targets, everybody brought them in, and but they were on everyone's cars. And I remember writing saying something, and in 1, 2, 3, they're all going to be gone because the trend was going to die eventually. And it's so sad that has just happened.
Yeah. I mean, it really has. And I think, as soon as you take down your American flag and put up like a Trump flag, it's kind of, the conversation's completely changed, right? Like, you can't be patriotic to a person. Like, you have to be patriotic to an set of ideals. And I had already been in the Army a couple years at that point. And it was the first time where I was in uniform and people would come up and say like, hey, thank you for your service. And I was like, that's weird. And now it's a thing, like, people sort of expect it. Like, you see it all the time. If you're on an airport and someone's flying in uniform, you always see someone like, oh, thank you for your service or whatever. And I just remember it was a really nice, I mean, it was a terrible thing that happened, but the reaction and the way the country came together was really nice. And I hope we can get that again without a terrible tragedy attached at some point. So
it's the truth. And we were talking, earlier about history and how it's going to be reflected. And it was 20 years ago, and we weren't where we are now. Like, I can't imagine what that would look like now.
Yeah.
Like, everyone has a smartphone, Twitter, all of the, Twitter can be great. And we all know how absolutely terrible it can be.
Yeah.
And it is sad because it is such a tool that can be so powerful and it can be so wonderful. And my Twitter experience is mostly positive. Not always. Luckily, I myself can usually kind of brush through it and, and get things done.
I think definitely. I mean, even Twitter in the last, 12 years, 10 years has changed drastically. It's just really strange. Like, you get to your, like, everyone's always like, when you get old, you'll be wise. And I'm like, I don't think I'm wise. I think I'm just sad. I think I'm just
Truth.
like, I think like everything. I'm like, man, all those missed opportunities, and not just like me, but just like life in general. And you're like, we could have been great. Like, we could have done something amazing. And it's like, or not. So yeah, that's why it's like every single time I'm like, my husband's like, do you want to watch the news? I'm like, no, it's just going to be like sadness. It's just going to be like, and then they always give you that one like little spark of hope at the end of the broadcast. Like, here's a heartwarming story of like this girl who got 16 scholarships, and you're like, man, she should be able to go to college for free. Like, it's so sad. So, yeah.
Average beachgoer saves sea turtle from seagull.
And we're like, oh, there were 16 turtles today, but that's great. Yeah.
So before we started recording, we were talking about family movie night and movies that we watch. And after my children fell asleep, last night I realized that 40-something is middle-aged. I was talking to my husband. Barb and Star visit Vista Del Mar. Have you seen it?
I've only seen the first half, but it's delightful, and I'm kind of saving it. We've been this is kind of funny. My husband and I have been doing a rewatch of The Golden Girls because we freaking love The Golden Girls, and it holds up so well compared to like so many 80s sitcoms. Like there was just we just watched the episode where Blanche's like college roommate comes to visit and she's a lesbian, and so they're like trying to like, and like all these double entendres, and I'm like, this is freaking delightful. Like I cannot believe we didn't rewatch. Like this was because we were like during the beginning of the pandemic. We're like now like I don't know, where are we in the pandemic now? We're like in like Act 2.
We're in the special edition.
I don't know.
Yeah, the re-release special edition.
Director's cut,
the first virus
know.
wasn't enough, so we had to up the special effects and do it again.
I hate this series. But like, so at the beginning of the pandemic, we were like, we want to watch stuff that we've already seen, and we want to like have stuff that like makes us, feel happy. And so we went back and rewatched Schitt's Creek and The Good Place, and then we were like, wait, Golden Girls. I'm like, I haven't seen that since I was a kid, and we were watching it, and I'm like, it's amazing, and I am like, it's just so delightful. So yeah, we were talking about, I can't remember what we were talking about, but just Barb, it reminds me of Barb and Star, just because it's that same kind of vibe.
Yes, it made me so happy. There's I have it on my whatever they call it on the Facebook thing. Like there's
the header.
Yes, with the Jedi, the bluey ghosts of the Golden Girls that have left us. So great. And then there's Rose still. It's so fantastic.
Rose showed them all.
She sure did.
She's like, don't talk shit about St. Olaf because I'm going to live forever.
I feel like Blanche always gets coded as the most queer, or maybe Dorothy. But let's be real, it's Rose.
Yeah.
It's like she can stab you in the back and you'll say thank you afterwards because she's just so cute and like yeah. So the gays always outlive everyone. Let's just put it that way. Can you hear the church bells? Mm-mm.
Okay, cool. I was like, I don't know how much longer. They only do it when service on Sundays. They don't do it all the time. Otherwise, I would move. But yeah.
Well, I would be here even if we could. Where I'm talking about something gay and the church bells goes off. So I would have upped those levels, right? That's what I would have done. In all seriousness.
Oh, they're Episcopalians. They're cool to everybody.
Okay, they're cool. All right, there we go. Just no tea, no shade to churchgoers. I'm just having fun. Speaking of churchgoers and religion, let's talk some Star Wars.
Let's talk some
and
Jedi.
The Jedi. Let's talk some Jedi. So, the High Republic has been very, very successful and very popular. It has to feel great.
Yeah, I mean, it does. Yeah.
It's like, exciting. It has been following the last few years of Star Wars and the divisions and having this thing that for the most part is pretty unified and exciting. It has to be so good to be that news special of the injection of positivity into a space that needed it, which is, I think it's so great. And I've listened to a lot of interviews with you talking about Star Wars and when you got into it. And I feel like your answer is it's part of pop culture. Do any of us really remember when we got into it? So what keeps you coming back to Star Wars?
I think, that's a great question because I'm going to go ahead and go on the record and say Revenge of the Sith is not my favorite movie. I love it because despite itself, and a friend of mine was just rewatching it and she's like, I don't think I ever watched this entire movie in a single sitting. Like, she's like, I think I only saw it like, if you remember, like for a long time, TBS would have like all the movies back to back to back, and it would be like a whole long weekend of just all the entire everything that was available. And she's like, I think I only saw it in like drips and drabs, like on basic cable, which is kind of actually, to be honest, is how I've always watched Fifth Element. I've seen Fifth Element like probably 20 times, but like only once, beginning to end. Like, like I always catch it. I'm like, oh, Fifth Element's on. I'm gonna watch this part, right? And so she was like, I don't remember like a lot of this. And I'm like, yeah, the thing is even when Star Wars is bad, it's good. right? Like, even when you're like, I have the high ground, Anakin, and you're like, you're fighting on lava. At this point, I think it doesn't matter. Like, only a Sith deals in absolute. So you're like, what are you saying, Obi-Wan? But even then, you're just like, I love it. Like, and I actually saw that movie while I was deployed to Eastern Europe in the early 2000s when it came out, and so I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna get to see it. And so they brought it to the theater on post, and I remember sitting there watching it, and I was like, did I miss something? Like, like I was like, did I have a fever dream and misremember Attack of the Clones? Like, because like so much was happening in my like real life that like going into this movie, it felt extra surreal. And I think that's what I like about Star Wars. I mean, personally, my favorite Star Wars movie is Rogue One, which is probably the thing everyone's always like, Rogue One? It's so sad. I'm like, yeah, but it's so good. It's so real and it's so authentic. And those characters have like great arcs. And I feel like that is such a, and it's the one movie that doesn't paint the rebellion as something that was like summer camp, right? Like, I'm going away to the rebellion. Like, I'll be home on the weekend, Mom. Like, it's like, hey, rebellions are hard and then you lose people you love and there are sacrifices to be made. And I think that's what I've always liked about Star Wars, because Star Wars, you can have Ewoks or you can have people like sacrificing themselves to get the plans to the Death Star. And those can exist simultaneously. And I think that's what I like. That's what when folks are like, that's not Star Wars or that's not my Star Wars. I'm like, but that's the point. Star Wars is everything, right? Like, you can have a horror movie that is Star Wars. You can have a Western and it's Star Wars. And that's what I think it makes it so great and keeps me bringing back, because I'm like, you're always giving me something fresh but familiar. And I think that is the key, because it's like there's that comfort of, I know what, the Force is and Jedi and all those sorts of things. But then there's also like, holy shit, that Jedi has a purple lightsaber. I didn't know purple was a color we could have, right?
Yes.
Think about when, like, when the prequel trilogy came out, everyone was like, purple lightsabers. We thought we were stuck with blue, right? Or red. Like, we didn't know there was like more, like, we could have a whole rainbow spectrum of course, there's more space. There's space for those things. And I think that's one of the things I like about Star Wars, because we don't tend to make space for new things in our personal, in our lives, right? Like, society tends to be like, that's weird, I don't like it, push it to the fringe, instead of being like, that could be cool. Let's see how it works, right? It's not hurting anybody. It's not destructive. Like, let's see how we can work it into the rest of things. But Star Wars has always done that. And that's really what keeps it coming back, especially like, there's a lot of like working on somebody, and like we call IP, which is intellectual property. Sometimes those experiences working on stuff is basically like, here's what you're writing, get it done. But with Star Wars, it's more like, hey, we kind of have this idea for this kind of story. What do you think? What do you want to do with that? Like, and you're still a lot of flexibility and a lot of creativity there. So, I mean, like writing, as far as writing IP, this has been the best IP I've ever worked on. But also, I just freaking like it. Like, I just really love Star Wars. I just love, like, I mean, the whole Grogu Baby Yoda thing is just absolutely ridiculous. You're like, like after the first season, you're like, where did this guy come from? Like, is it like Yoda and Yaddle's love child? Like, what happened? Like, what were the Jedi doing in the council chamber? Yeah, there's like so much stuff. But then it's at the same time, we got a really cool, with The Mandalorian, we got a really cool Western series. And, that's still Star Wars. And so that's really, I mean, that's such a long, like, verbal vomit about like why Star Wars is great. But it's really because it stretches and can encompass more things. And I think that keeps people coming back, because they're like, ooh, what's going to be? It's new, but it's still Star Wars.
I mean, I literally agree with everything you just said. Like, to me, minus, it is funny. We just did a live stream on Friday when we recorded this, and we talked about Rogue One. And I was like, I'm not going to.
You're like,
I don't think I do. I go back and forth. I mean, some of my Peak Milk family made some amazing points. I'm like, I love this because I can rethink some of these things that I disliked. I mean, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's Star Wars. Even the bottom Star Wars is above everything else.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's like, even if you're like, oh, I don't really like Rogue One. It's like, cool, go watch A New Hope, right? And A New Hope is still great. Like, and you're like, but now you have like the background for it. So like, you're like, okay, I'm never going to watch that again. Because sitting on the beach and dying, spoiler, is not the uplifting ending like I enjoy. And to be honest, even as a Star Wars fan, I avoided Rogue One for a really long time. Like, I avoided it because I was like, I don't want to, like, my husband went and saw it in the theater without me because I was like, look, I read some reviews. It's like depressing. I'm like, just not in the headspace. Like, I kind of just really want to, like, more like, Rey and Finn and Poe kind of stuff. Like, I just, don't. And he was like, yeah, I get it. And then he came back and he was like, it was amazing. He's like, you should go see it. And I was like, eh. And so I did like push it off. Like, I pushed it off really. And then I ended up, when I watched it, I was like, oh my God, why did I wait so long? Like, this is amazing. I love this. And I was like the only person in the theater who loved it. There were a lot of people coming out like, that was so sad. There were tears. Then there were people who come out there like, Darth Vader is the BAMF.
See, it's so funny. That's the thing. I am definitely in the minority, but I don't particularly like that scene because I went over all of this, but like I feel like it takes away from Vader in Jedi and Vader in Empire, and because it's just not topped. That's my thing, and I'm like, but whatever, I am not someone who's sitting here going to make YouTube videos with red eyeballs and like this is the Star Wars I got.
You're not going to give me laser eyes afterwards. It's gonna be
if you want to, I'll give you purple eyeballs if you want. Like, purple, you want that? And I'll put in parentheses at her request. Please don't add me. Or pink ones. Let's make them pink. Everything's better in pink. But yeah, no, like I think I love to be challenged by Star Wars, and that's something that the High Republic has done. Because in all honesty, like as I've gotten older, my love for the Jedi is I'm in an interesting place with the Jedi. Like. They're not that great. By the time we met them, they're not that great. And I'm still convinced to this day that is why people our age didn't like the prequels. They thought it was all this other stuff, but our heroes were not heroes. And now that I'm a father, you still root for them. Like George Lucas's approach to that entire thing is mind-boggling how good it is, because they are not good, but you can still go and buy your child a lightsaber and love the Jedi. Like, it's this really that is so complex, and people don't give it the credit that it's deserved. They don't give the actors the credit that they deserve for doing that. We all know everyone rags on George Lucas's dialogue, but he made all of that work, and that is really complex. And how he did that, I don't really know, because I'm not talented in that way, but it's so good.
Yeah, no, I think that's what's compelling about Star Wars. Because even if you take it like, and this is a conversation we have a lot, because we both like Star Wars and Star Trek, but.
Now I am going to give you red eyeballs.
But like, if you take anything out of context, it seems silly, right? Like if you I saw something where people were mad about Geode in Into the Dark, and I'm like, yeah, if you're just like, there's a character who's a rock, it sounds silly. But if you read it in context, it's freaking hilarious, right? Yes. It is exactly the thing we expect from Star Wars. Those moments of it's Han Solo in the stormtrooper costume in A New Hope going, oh, everything's fine here, it's great, right? It's that same kind of level of like silliness. And so like, I think it's one of those things. It's like, if you decide not to like it, of course you're not going to like it. But if you give things like a genuine chance, you might not love everything, but you're definitely going to find something in the High Republic. And I think really my favorite thing about the High Republic has been getting to see the Jedi being great, as opposed to the Jedi being like, we're going to go and walk around Naboo and kind of go to Tatooine and like watch a pod race. And you're just like, save the world, guys! Save the galaxy!
Yeah,
but yeah, I do think a lot of people in our generation had that same response, and I also love now that everyone seems to forget how much people hated like everything. Like I remember people hated the Ewoks. I remember people hated the pod racing, which I was one of them. I had the pod racing game. I had that pod racing game for Nintendo. Was it 64 or whatever? And it was freaking impossible to play. Like you just kept wrecking into walls, and I'm like, what is the point of this game? And so like, yeah, I just feel like it's, if you genuinely love Star Wars, that's cool. Like you can talk about the things you don't necessarily love. Like, but if you like, this is not, as soon as you say this is not Star Wars, it's like, but isn't it though?
You
like,
lost.
I guess you don't like it. Just say I don't like it. Like, that's okay.
Yep.
That's an okay thing to say.
Yeah, it's interesting because actually I feel like there's the opposite end of that too. Someone like in your position where you are, like you're still allowed to have an opinion, and your opinion doesn't need to take away from somebody else. I've gotten comments of like, I'm really proud of how positive we are. Even when we talk about the things that we don't like, we don't run away from people. Some of our biggest fans of the show love The Rise of Skywalker, and like I can't. I'm really trying. I don't want to not like it. I'm really, really working so hard to like it, and it's still Star Wars, so it's still better than everything else. Like I put that out, but like the fact that they still come back, I'm like, it makes me proud that we're doing something right. I'm like, this is possible to not like something and not scare someone away.
Yeah, we can agree to disagree and still be fans. That's what I always say. Like, and it's kind of become my marketing thing. It's like Star Wars is for everyone, obviously, but also fandom shouldn't make you upset. Like fandom should be joyful. Like your fandom should be something that makes you happy. You shouldn't get angry when you turn on whatever you're like, the Mandalorian or the Bad Batch. Like you shouldn't. It shouldn't throw you into fits of rage, because if it is. Like, what do you enjoy being angry? Do you enjoy that vein throbbing in your temple? I don't. like I want to like have a good time and talk about stuff, like the things I like with the people who like them as well. And so like, I mean, I don't want to, like, I always say like, I don't do nerd fights because it's just no winner. Like all you do is everyone leaves with hurt feelings. Just like say like, oh, I didn't dig it. But I can see why you liked it. The end, like leave it there. All it takes. Yeah.
Because we'll get things sometimes, but Brian, I'll get Brian, that's someone's favorite part. Okay. Like I'm here for that. I think that's fantastic. I love it. Tell me why you love it so much so I can like try to figure it out.
It takes all kinds.
I think for me, like fandom, and I really am only like super into Star Wars, so I don't know about other things the same way I love this, right? But when I'm met with something that I have a hard time with, I find it as a challenge that I need to grow as a person. And this is my easiest way to access some of those things of what that really means. Like, I have not made a lot of people happy, but at the end of the Mandalorian, when Luke takes Grogu, like I'm having a really hard time. That is my childhood hero who, in my opinion, made a terrible mistake. Literally is making the same mistake that all the Jedi before him did. Then I put on story hat, but that also leads us to Luke at the end in The Last Jedi, who I don't understand how anyone's ever had a problem with that character, because we all know once you start down a dark path, forever will dominate your destiny. And that's what he's done. He's being haunted by this, and he's us.
Yeah.
He looked up to the Jedi. He's like, oh, whoa, these people like messed up. And he's got to process that just like all of us did. But
I think a lot of people, I have so many thoughts about like The Last Jedi. I do really like The Last Jedi. But I think a lot of it is that's a grown up character. And the Luke we always had before has not been a grown up character, right? It's been the plucky hero. It's been somebody who is growing up. And I think sometimes that's hard. It's really hard to show how a character grows and changes in a way that makes everyone happy. And I don't think there was any way that you were going to be able to bring back Luke at old Luke, right? At that point and make people happy. I think that there are always going to be a lot of people who are going to be upset with that, because it's like, I mean, what was his trajectory going to be? Like there was, there were not a lot of good options for poor Luke Skywalker. Like he had a rough start and he had a rough end. Yes. And it's just like that. Sometimes that's how life is, right? You live through disappointments and you either become a better person for it or you don't, you retreat, and it emotionally kind of breaks you a little bit. And I think that's sometimes hard, because it's like everybody wants that first feeling you have with, it's like if you think about like being a long-term fan as like a relationship, even when you have a relationship with a person, it's never going to be like that first moment of excitement, like that first kiss excitement, like that first hand holding excitement. Like you're never going to have that through the entire length of the relationship. I've been married for 22 years, which is a long freaking time. And like,
congrats. That's awesome.
Thanks. And like, it's still good, but it's different than when we first got married, right? And it has to be. We're different people. And I think with fandom, it's the same way as well. You're growing and changing, and hopefully your fandom is growing and changing as well, because, you know, you have different people coming in, creating content, you know, the world is changing, and that content's going to somehow reflect that in some ways. And so I think like expecting everything to be the same thing and having that same feeling for every single piece of media that comes out of a fandom is how you set yourself up for disappointment, right? Like we talked about before we started, we talked about the Avatar movie versus the Avatar cartoon. And it's like, I never expected the Avatar movie to be the cartoon, but I expected it to at least be good. Like,
and I have no idea what she's talking about because there's never been a live action movie made. I don't know.
You refuse to acknowledge the existence of this thing.
That's healthy, right? That's how you handle emotional things, right? Yeah. Okay, that's yeah. Yep.
And I think that's part of the complexity of like realizing that like you don't have to like everything, right? You don't have to like everything that comes out. Like you can say like, ooh, not a huge fan. Like The Bad Batch, it was fine. Like it wasn't my favorite. I'm like you. I would have rather gone back and watched Clone Wars, even Rebels. I really liked Rebels. A lot of people didn't like Rebels, right? And so I think it's not everything's going to hit for you, but that's okay too. And we can say cool and move on. And I think Star Wars does such a great job though of having something for everybody, right? Like I read a lot of comics. I don't really want to read the Vader comic. I read it every once in a while if it refers to something, if there's something that's going to tie back. But I'm just like, I'm good, man. I'm good on Vader. Like I got it. He's a bad guy, right? He had some emotional things happen, and it made him a bad guy. Doesn't really absolve him of his badness. But I'll read the shit out of Dr. Aphra because I freaking love that. I love that comic, right? I love Aphra. I think she's silly and plucky, and like Alyssa Wong's turn has been so fantastic. And so, like, I mean, that's cool. You don't have to read Vader. You can read Dr. Aphra. You don't have to read Dr. Aphra. You can read, Bounty Hunters. There's a lot of stuff for people to choose from. And that's what makes it great. And that's what makes me like Star Wars. I mean, still.
100%. Star Wars is not afraid to go in different directions. And I think that is so brave. And, I really think George Lucas did an amazing thing with prequels and gave us, like we said earlier, like what he did with the Jedi, I think gave Star Wars so much freedom going forward, because here he is, the creator, and he turned it on its head and gave you something you were never going to expect. And I think it allowed a lot of freedom later. Like, okay, I don't have to follow this because the maker told me I could.
Yeah, and I think that's like there's a lot to be said for even the original trilogy. Like there is so much that is like touched on and never expounded upon that you could like, wait, what? Like, what does that mean? Like, what is that? Like, let's dig into that. Like, what's the story behind that? And I think that's what's great about it is like it's a firm foundation for a lot of different kinds of storytelling. Yep. And you don't necessarily get that. Like you can't do that with Sailor Moon. I know, because I love Sailor Moon, but it is what it is.
Yep. I mean, I love G.I. Joe, and we're not going there with G.I. Joe.
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, it's Cobra and G.I. Joe, and that's it.
And sometimes it's all you need.
Sometimes it's all you need. Bring in Destro for some reason. I don't know. Why is his face metal? Never figured it out. But it is. The man in the iron mask working for Cobra. Yeah. So it's just like, I mean, I feel like so many people, like you could write an entire like dissertation on Star Wars and how it incorporates enough from our reality to create its own reality. And it's just, though, I mean, and then I talk about world building a lot because I'm such a world building nerd. And the fact that you can have things that feel diametrically opposed, but actually aren't within Star Wars is kind of like what's so delightful about it. Now, I will say like in the EU, sometimes you're like, wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. Like, you told me last book that, but we're just like the EU is the EU and it's doing its thing. So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I wanted to piggyback on something, like to bring it back to Star Wars is for everyone. And one of the things that you do really, really well, and this is going to be a long question, so I apologize, but one of the things the EU did not do successfully for me, like I was never as into it because I didn't feel that it was written for the kid in all of us. And one thing you've said before, because I know a lot of people ask you the questions of how do you write for kids, and kids are just people, and people talk down to kids way too much. And I agree with that. So, and I have a bad reaction when I hear people say Star Wars is for kids. Well, Star Wars is for everyone. That just happens to include children, because I'm 42 and I still get just as much from it as my 7-year-old does. And it's because it doesn't talk down to its audience whatsoever. You are doing a fantastic job, especially with Vern and Syl too, of doing these really great things, talking about really complex situations. Vern, to me, is like, I love the fact that she's questioning these things of being a kid and being asked too much of, which I read into as like, well, we didn't talk about this stuff in the prequels, but it was really important. Like, look at Ahsoka. She doesn't really tackle this because Ahsoka's who Ahsoka is and just like charged full steam ahead. And then she wasn't given the opportunity to do that because everyone walked out on her. And a lot of queer people, to bring it back to like a pink milk specific type thing, a lot of us are left on our own younger than we should. And it's incredibly sad. A lot of us have to grow up quicker than we needed to, should have. Even if we're 18, 19, 20, the kinds of visceral things that are said to us, the kinds of things that as a queer person, as minorities have to deal with, we are tackled with answering things that force us to grow up a little bit. And that for me is one of the things that Star Wars does, is because I can address trauma or things that I have in my personal life in a fun way. So I can tackle these things and have a smile on my face. And I think that is such a difficult, I can't even imagine how you really accomplish that. But that is something that with those two characters in particular, for me, I think you are addressing incredibly well. And I'm curious how you go about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think your points are like incredibly valid. Oh, also thank you for the compliment. But yeah, I think like, so, I mean, we're about the same age. I think we're talking about kind of the same, touchstones. And
25.
Yeah. yes. We are so young, so wise for our age. But I came out in the end of the 90s, right? When if you were bi, then it was just because you hadn't found the right person to either make you queer or straight. Or bi was like a waiting room for your sexuality. You're at some point you're going to choose. I mean, let alone we didn't talk about people being ace or aro or anything like that. And so I think part of my coming out experience was I was in the Army, and that was during Don't Ask, Don't Tell. So it was very dangerous, kind of if you wanted to have a military career, to also be queer. And I mean, I ended up marrying a cisgender dude. So it was well, at this point it's not going to matter because obviously bisexual people are not cheaters, even though the sometimes the propaganda would have you think that. But I think it's really about just being honest, right? Thinking about the things people go through and looking at it through an honest lens. Sometimes really bad shit, it's just kind of funny in the aftermath, right? Sometimes you something happens and you're like, I might die, and then you didn't. And you're like, holy crap, I didn't die. That's awesome. And
I paid my pants for nothing.
Yes!
And you laugh at it.
And you're like, wow, now I have a funny story about peeing the pants. And so I think if we don't look at life that way, if we don't look at everything through that lens of this will be a funny story at some point, hopefully in this life, not the next one. I think what happens is we lose that resilience. As human beings, we need to have a certain level of resilience to kind of push through, because a lot of life sucks. A lot of things, what sucks? Paying an electric bill. That's part of being an adult. Paying people so you can have lights on is stupid. Paying people for water is dumb. Every time I pay my water bill, I'm like, what am I paying for? I know I'm paying for water treatment and things. Don't email me. But I'm just saying, the water treatment union's going to email me. Justina, I don't hate water. But I think it's important to when you're writing books and you're writing these really hard subjects, to kind of use a light touch. And I really I mean, I always get the question, when are you going to write a book for adults? And I'm like, I wrote a bunch of books for adults. You're an adult, go read it. And I think there's a lot to be said and a lot to be learned from kids' books, because kids' books do that and embrace that kind of idea of resilience and learning from our mistakes in a very purposeful way that sometimes adults need to hear that too. Like we should still be learning. Like I always tell my daughter, better today than yesterday, right? Be a better person today than you were yesterday. Be better at, I don't know, cutting the grass, anything, just one thing, just be better today than yesterday. And I think, that's something we get when we're in our, tweens and teens and maybe early 20s. But by the time we get to our 30s, we're like, I'm good. I don't need to better myself anymore. I'm tired of bettering myself. Well, we should keep doing that. And I think when we're writing characters, especially in Star Wars, it's a great place to talk about that, right? I mean, we know what happens. Vernestra does not know what happens to the Jedi. She's got no clue about Order 66, right? The rest of us are like, sorry, Vern, it's not going to turn out well for your folks, Nope. And I think it's important to realize that, even though we're sitting here today, there were people before us that did not know how things would turn out. And, they still went through their lives and they still did the best they could. They still were, better today than yesterday. And I think it's really important to write characters who reflect us as human beings, reflect our flaws, reflect our triumphs, reflect everything about us. And that includes, queerness, like different places on the queer spectrum and different, comforts with either, sexuality or not sexuality. I mean, since you also lived through the 90s, you remember for a while, every Twi'lek was a sexy Twi'lek, right? Like if you had a Twi'lek, you're like, well, she's the good time girl, right?
Yep.
I think it's one of those things of making sure things are not even within the galaxy, making sure our species are not a monolith, right? Not every Twi'lek has to be sexy. Some of them are Lorna Dean, will cut your head off, right? And that's awesome, but also might be sexy, but in a very different
You can be
way.
both. What's the little the Disney? Yeah. I forget the name of the movie, but the gif. Same,
yes.
both are good.
Yes. What's that? Oh, that was the Road to El Dorado, right?
Yes, there we go. Okay.
Oh, the 90s. But yes, I think it's important to when you talk about Star Wars, when people say Star Wars is for kids, a lot of times they say it in a way that belittles. But we should be giving our kids the best things that we have, right? We should always be giving the younger kids, the best things we have. So when you say Star Wars is for kids, I think that to me, it is the best thing that you can give a kid. That means it's the best thing we have available. And that's awesome. It's not dismissive. It's not, denigrating. It's like, do you have little feet?
I do.
Yeah. And so I think it's really important to make sure that when we are writing in our galaxy that
we have 3 kids. My husband and I adopted 3 kids through the foster system, and nothing good brought my children to us. And when I hear people like you speaking about children the way you do, I get emotional thinking about my kids anytime because we love them, right? But they have experienced so much in life. And for you to say they're just a child, no matter what it is, and you don't have to go through what my children went through to get that. It's just so dismissive and disrespectful. And I myself have grown so much being a parent, because you listen. I would like to think that I listen to my children. I've learned so much from them, about life, and to think I know what they went through and they can still walk through that door with a grin on their face. It's a gift.
Yeah. And I think it's really dismissive when you think that kids don't go through things. There are a lot of kids going through a lot of things. One of the messages I got when A Test of Courage came out is you wrote a kid's book about death. How dare you? I'm like, first of all, you need to read more kids' books because there's a lot of kids' books about death. But also kids, we started the show talking about September 11th. There were a lot of kids who lost their parents on September 11th. They lost aunts, they lost uncles, they lost older brothers and sisters. There were a lot of people impacted by death. There are kids every day. We're in the middle of a pandemic. There are kids who are losing their parents in ICUs that they never get to see. And to pretend that, somehow dismiss that, to somehow say that kids do not have a deep, complex emotional journey is silly. It's just really, it's so reductive. And it really makes me angry especially when people besmirch kid literature, because I think some of the best writing that is happening right now in literature is in children's literature, whether it's young adult literature or middle grade literature or junior readers, which is like they're very little. Picture books are doing amazing things right now. And so like, I think if you limit yourself, if you're like, well, kids, they're just kids, talk to a kid, man. Spend 10 minutes asking a kid how their day was, and not just like, how was your day? How was school? Like, what did you learn today? Like, what did you discover today that you didn't know yesterday? What do you want to know? Like, what are questions you have? Like, we used to, when my daughter was younger, she went through that phase of like, I don't want to talk at dinner time. I was like, okay, what's one thing you wish you knew the answer to? Like, what's one question you have? And sometimes it was like, I don't know. Do aardvarks sleep in trees? I don't know. Let's Google it. Right now we have the internet. Like when I was a kid, you gotta go to the library, dig out an encyclopedia. That somebody didn't have the A version that had aardvarks in it, right? Checked out. You're like, damn it, I have to wait till next week. I guess I'll look at Bengal tigers instead.
Or the supermarket encyclopedias.
Yes. You're just like, so I mean, like, no. It's just, I mean, like, I just feel like, I think part of the problem, even this last year, people don't necessarily care about kids, but they like to weaponize children. And I think that's really kind of where I get upset, because it's like, if you really cared about kids, you would have more respect for them as people. Full stop.
Girl, let me tell you. Some of our DCS caseworkers, and God bless DCS caseworkers. I mean, they see some horrible things. I'm not, but we had a few. We had a judge that didn't like gay people. We had a DCS caseworker who I'm like, no, they're mine now. And I am a Papa Bear, and I will fight and take down anyone to protect them, because they've gone through, and I take that responsibility so strong. They've been through enough. They did not land here to have to go through more stuff. Yeah. And sometimes, and I can understand a mentality that somehow might drive someone here. I'm not excusing the behavior, but I can understand how you could be driven to the point of treating them like pieces of paper. And it would just, you can do that with somebody else, right, but you're not going to be here.
But also, like, we all lose as a society as soon as that happens, right?
Yep.
Like the fact that we have, I guess you guys have DCS, we have CPS. I hear it, I think. Okay.
Yeah.
But like the fact that we have people push to that limit instead of like giving them the support, right? Like we don't need to go to another country and invade ever again. Let's bolster our own social system here. Like, let's, get people help. Let's get better facilities for kids. There's, I can go, I started out in social work, and after I got out of the Army, I was like, I'm gonna go do social work, and I burned out hard. Like, it was like 6 months. I was like halfway through a master's in social work, and I was like, I can't do this. It's hard. It's really, really hard. You can't necessarily change people, which is really kind of what the goal of a lot of these programs is to change people, and you're not going to change people. So like, how do you help people change themselves? And I don't know that we have that answer. But man, props to you, man. Like that's awesome. I'm like, you clearly love your kids, and that is the only thing that matters. That really is just how much you love your kids.
We are the lucky ones. Literally, all during 2020, we were talking about September 11th and children, and Tom and I had really, I call it sugarcoating. We don't do any of that. I can speak to them softer, which is what, you've spoken about that in writing. We talked, this is what happened on September 11th, and you put it all out there because they can understand, like he's the last child to move in, but the middle child, Eli, moved in 6 months before a lockdown happened. So his entire, and I will get emotional if I think too much, but like where that kid came from, I'm like, you went from that to this, and you're still locked down. And like, it was really, really hard, and I just saw this little child who didn't understand people and didn't know how to be around people. And I couldn't wait to show him how wonderful the world was. And then it locked down. I was like, oh God, this is awful.
Like, oh.
We made it happen. We did our best, and he's great now, but we're the lucky ones. Like, I mean, literally all during the pandemic, all of us had mental health issues, understandably so. And if you didn't have them, you should probably really think about some things because we all did.
I was you might be missing something about yourself.
Exactly. But I had to keep telling myself, I am living a life that I never dreamt possible for myself. I'm in my early 40s. The idea that I am married was even when Tom and I were about to celebrate 14 years together. And even when we first started dating, the idea of us being married was never even it just wasn't even a dream that I could have because it was too depressing to think it was going to get there. So we, after however many years it was, we set our life up as best as we could. So we would be taken care of as best as we could, And then the idea of having kids, I wasn't going to have a surrogate. That was just not my plan for me. I didn't think I was here for that. And then the idea of adopting children, the way you had to go about it, I wasn't going to support a system that wasn't going to let us, do it together because that's, it's a very complicated thing. Anyways, we're all here now, and I think about how many times I got beat up, how many times I got spit on, how many times, and the things that happened to the people that came before me to get to where we are right now. And to have these moments of you know what, this stinks right now, but look at all of this. I literally am living a dream, and it gets overwhelming. And that's one of the things that I think Star Wars does so well under all these unsurmountable odds at the end. I just tweeted a thing. I really miss George Lucas endings. I love how the end of all of his movies, we pan the camera back and there's this completely unrealistic lineup of things and the music swells and you feel happy no matter how bad it is. Even at the end of Revenge of the Sith, there is hope at the end of it. You're like, oh my God, I just went through all of that. But now I get this. And even Rogue One, I fell hard for that movie because I was not one of the people. I'm like, why do they have to die? There's a big galaxy. They can just be over here somewhere. They don't all have to die. Yeah. But there's Cassian Andor gives that little look and it goes out in light, which is very sad. But at the same time, we all know what they sacrificed for. We know the ending. And so there was this, they did it. They did it. And you can't help but be kind of happy. I think it's just what Star Wars brings. It's so great. In phase 2, we open up with this great world fair in the High Republic. And we're happy to look. And then, for a hot second. Something terrible. Oh no. Yeah. So I want to ask a question about the expansiveness of the cast of characters that the High Republic has brought. It means so much to so many people to see ourselves in things. And I love this podcast has brought, like I said, I'm a 40-something-year-old gay dude. I never thought straight people would ever, I don't like that. And I'm working through it. But the truth of the matter is I just felt very isolated for a long time. And this podcast, I've learned the majority of people who listen are straight people. And the kinds of messages I'm very lucky to have received some, great things. It's overwhelming to them. I'm like, wait, because we're very gay on the show. We don't hide it. We hold nothing back. It's a big old gay dance party all the time. But they're here and they're listening to our stories. And it's really, I'm like, wow, the world has really changed. And now Star Wars is reflecting that because we still have yet to do it on screen.
Yeah, I know.
Let's get it done. And I am going to put in a real quick sidebar request because I did just watch Rogue One. I'm going to request the High Republic. Somehow the Guardians of the Whills are still in existence. Right? Because they're not in there yet, right? They haven't been mentioned. Yeah. Please make all of them gay. Therefore, bays. There is no, that is the one rule. Yeah. Bays and Qi'ra are definitely everyone's favorite space gunkles, right? They're gay uncles. Yes. I know. I have very few Hasbro Black figures, but I have them on my bookshelf downstairs and they're right next to each other. And I have them and Lando. And those are the only Black figures I have from Hasbro because I'm they need to be together happily on my shelf. Because yes, they are very much. And I think that's I think that's one of the things, again, better today than yesterday. Even if you look at the run of movies, there are no people of color in A New Hope.
right? But then we get Lando in The Empire Strikes Back. And then like when we get to the prequels, there's a lot more people of color. And then when we get to Rogue One, it's like, oh my God, there are people of color in the galaxy. That's amazing. They all die, which is less amazing, but and so I think it's definitely one of those things that like, yeah, I definitely would think the Guardian of the Wills were probably like monks, right? Like all,
gay monks.
That's really, that's delightful though. It's just like, but I'm like, are they having dance parties and brunch and like, they're like, yes, that's exactly what
Of course they do.
I know they did. There was a wasn't there some manga that came out that was Guardian of the Wills? I can't remember. I feel like I missed so much stuff. People were
but
like,
you have the power now. You have the power. You and your team have the power. Make it canon. Make it.
Do you know how hard I had to fight for a light whip?
And thank God you did. Thank God.
Like, what's the purpose? I'm like, because it's cool. Sometimes it just needs to be cool. But yeah, no, I do think it's great. Like there are people who are really like, let's be honest, science fiction has always been great at pushing boundaries. It should be. The golden age science fiction pushed boundaries and maybe not in the ways we necessarily would have liked. But it still pushed those ideas and like pushed things forward. And so, even if it's space fantasy, because, Star Wars always straddles sort of that line between fantasy and sci-fi. I do think it should be open. I think it should be more, like expansive. You should be able to have, a planet explode, but then you can also have like a character who appears to be a rock to everybody else, right? Who's not paying attention. And so I think that's one of those things that's just like, yeah, like let's expand it. Let's include everyone. I was super disappointed that the Finn Poe arc did not end in a romance between the two of them, or even like besties riding off into the sunset, air quotes, besties riding off to the sunset. Because it just seemed like it was time. Do you know what I mean? I think at some point you have to, this idea that that queerness only happens when you hit the age of 18 is silly. Like the idea that it only happens to like one couple out of 20 is also silly. And like, and it's not, I don't think it's not my circles. Like my kid came home first week of school and she's already identifies as queer. She's a proud member of the Alphabet Mafia, as she likes to say. I love it. And so she came home and I'm always worried about her getting picked on because obviously we grew up in the same time frame. And I was like, did anybody say anything to you? Like, I'm like, do I need to go like bust heads at school? Because I will. And she's like, no, man. She's like, everybody in my school's gay. And I was like, okay, but I guess they could be.
Love
like,
it.
right?
Love
like,
it.
Everybody can be like a little. And I think that's what like we should understand is like sexuality also isn't fixed, right? Like the things you find attractive when you're 18 are not necessarily the things you find attractive when you're like 40. The things you find attractive at 19 aren't necessarily the things you find attractive at 29. So I think even that, like we have to realize that like love is the important thing, not like who you love. Right. As long as like you can get that. Like, because there are people who, and everyone loves, like not everybody wants romantic relationships, but everyone like has those emotional attachments to somebody. And those emotional relationships are really, when you're talking about characters, when you're talking about individuals, that's really what keeps people grounded and keeps us moving forward. I can't tell you how many days I would just lay in bed and not get out of bed if it wasn't for the fact that, like my husband and my kid and my cats and my dog are, depending on me to do stuff. So yeah, I really think connections are important. And I think we should see connections for all kinds of folks. And not just, also like, like let's get some more, there's some more queer alien races in here too, or alien species, because I do think we tend to be so fixed on this idea of biology, but we can't think that every single Star Wars species has the same biology as humans, because that makes no sense, right? Like some people are going to be out there laying eggs, right? Some people, the Mon Calamari live underwater. So obviously they're going to have some weird way that they, it's weird to us, completely normal to them. And so I think it's just, I don't know. I think sometimes we get so bogged down in like the narrow four corners of our own experiences that we don't bust them open. And so I'm glad to hear that there are people who are like, yeah, I do need to like broaden my, I do need to to reach outside of necessarily what I know and learn more. Because that's what that's kind of what I'd hoped the internet would bring. I didn't think it would bring like all the bad things. I was like, oh, yay, more information. Ooh, wait, what? What's a
more
Facebook?
information? Yeah, like, ooh. Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm not a huge social media person. Like I was never on Twitter really before this happened. And let me tell you, I was so naive to the beginning. Like
I'm so sorry.
Just very naive. I was like, oh, okay.
Twitter's like being thrown in the deep end of the pool, right? Like you had to like grow. Like I went through like MySpace and LiveJournal and Tumblr and then like ended up on Twitter. Like if you just start on Twitter, that is like, it's like learn to swim, buddy. Good luck.
Yeah. It was, and like I said, my experience for the most part is really, really fantastic. Like more often than not. YouTube is funny. And like I said, I don't really hide things. Like we get some really horrible comments on YouTube. Not very often, but we do. And my son happened to read some of them. And we get a lot of like, your children should be taken away from you, blah, 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 all of that. And I don't remove that stuff. Some of them have been removed because people comment, but I'm like, no, I'll let this person show their face. Like, all right, good. Like it exists. And I think it's important to say, no, this isn't just us with an SJW like agenda. Like this really happens. No, I didn't create a fake account and put this on. This happens. But my son was just like so mad. He's like, that really happens. And why? What does he know? How does he know if I'm happier here? Why did I was just like, this is just the world that we live in, dude. Like you've been through a lot. That was hard on us at the beginning of. And it's like I said earlier, it's the scars that I carry because I'm a 90s kid and I wish I didn't have them. And I'm working really hard every day to like not have them, but they are there. And it has shaped my worldview, not in the best way. Sometimes it's really healthy, but our kids went through enough. And then, we're an interracial family where now they have two dads. They have all of these things that are just at them all the time. They're just like, you're different, you're different, you're different. And we have to work real hard of saying, but that's totally fantastic. And don't let anyone ever knock that from like, use that as a ding. Say, no, I am. And it's great.
I think, and I think that's like the internet is one of those things where you're just like, I don't know where you come from or what your home life is like, but like you should touch grass, man. Like you should go out.
I love that expression.
Like,
oh my God.
Go touch some grass and like hug a tree or like something. When in January, February, when the High Republic first launched, my husband is like, he's like a YouTube browser. First of all, my husband is like basic white guy from Pennsylvania, right? So he is like, you're racist? He's like, wait. He kept getting these records. Somehow he clicked on something and got all these, like the algorithm for like all these videos. And he's like, I like this one with you with laser eyes. He's like, that would be really helpful when it's time to cook dinner. He's like, you could just like laser the fish and then we could eat faster. And I was like, that would be really infrared laser. Like, yep, that's medium rare now. We can eat dinner. And so like, I think it's hard, especially when you have kids, because you're like, well, I don't want them to get wrapped up in this. But then it's like, that's the world. Like,
yep.
Sometime at some point, you're going to have to work next to that person at McDonald's at your job, right? And you're going to be like, holy crap, there are people who actually think this way. And it's good because I do think you have to emotionally like prepare yourself and your kids for knowing that there is still hate in the world. And it's one of those things, it's always the people who are like, think they're good people who are somehow the most vicious. And you're like, what do you get out of this? I get paid to write Star Wars. So like, I love Star Wars, but I also like, but what do you get out of like making a 45-minute video, like highlighting someone's tweets from like 3 years ago? Or
I can't even imagine what that has to be like. I'm like, I can't.
I'm just like, if that makes you happy, I guess, but I mean, it's not going to change my life because I'm good. I'm here and I'm doing the things I want to do and I'm not hurting anybody. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, what are you putting out in the world? I think we don't I think we talk about, my husband and I with our daughter always talk about the social contract. It's one of the things we talk about. It's like, what do you owe the other people who exist in the world with you? And how much is too much, right? It's like, I do think, you should be kind and you should be generous, but you should also be firm and have boundaries and not let people walk all over you. But I just don't understand what people who go on to random sites and like spew hate. Like, what are you getting out of that? Like the joy of knowing you ruined somebody else's day. Like that's the like, man, take up knitting. You'll have a sweater at the end at least.
Yep.
You know, and I think that's what's sometimes hard, especially with fandoms, is realizing those folks exist. My kid is really into anime, and every once in a while she'll be like, this person said this terrible thing. And I was like, yeah, just block them and move on. Like, what are they going to add to your life if you engage with them? You're not going to get anywhere. You're going to be upset. They're going to be whatever they are. If they're even real, they could be a bot. Like exactly. Could just be a line of code fighting with you. So,
you know, I think us as humans, it's probably pretty universal. We're always concerned with what we're going to leave behind, right? Like, what is our purpose? What are we leaving behind? I'm like, and that's what you choose to do with it? You know, we've all fumbled. We've all fumbled somewhere along the way. And that's fine. But some of this stuff like that, like, okay, not everyone chooses to have children. I get it. But like a lot of people do, right? And like, how are you going to feel in 20, 30 years when your kid sees who mom or dad was, right? Like,
right. Are you going to gather your child up like, look here, little Jimmy, this is the time I spewed hate on these 6 different sites. And you're like, I mean, I guess maybe if that's like,
I was going to say, or do they want them to see that? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I love the social contract, you know, and one of the things, like, I love Star Wars because of a mask. Like, I love the mask. I love, like, we all have a mask to a point. We all like present ourselves to the public in a certain sort of way, like, and try to represent ourselves in a way in which we do, right? Especially as we're getting older, we all try different hats on and don't want to be this kid, don't want to be that kid. And I don't think it ever really goes away. You know, maybe it's because I'm queer that like I'm forced to deal with that more often. Like, you know, you think you're coming out and you're like, you're either too butch back then, you're too gay, you're too this, you're too that. You can't be like, okay. Well, at some point in time, I just had to figure out this is just me and that's the way it is. And I like to think I'm a nice person. And so I guess I just don't really care what you think I should or shouldn't be, because I'm going to go out and be the best I can every day. And I'll listen to you. And if I'm like out of line somewhere, maybe that needs to be noted. No, you're just think that you're right and I'm wrong. And I don't need to listen to that noise. Right.
Yeah, but, and I just think it's like, you know, everybody's entitled to an opinion, but not every opinion is valid, like, right? And I think that's like that's really hard, especially nowadays. I think social media is incredibly difficult for younger folks too, because I think they've never lived in a world without it, and so realizing that like not everybody who is engaging with you on social media is worth your time and effort is also a really important and healthy lesson to learn. That sometimes it's just like, you know what? I'm going to block you, and we're going to go on our parallel paths in this you know galaxy. And at some point, if we cross again, then we'll deal with it. But probably not. Probably never. You know. So.
Yeah, like I mean, honestly, that's the whole reason why I started this. My son he's 11, almost 12 now, but like wants to be a YouTuber because he's 11, and I'm like, okay, like I want to support that. I want to like, I don't know anything about this.
Yeah.
Let me start a live stream. We have this thing, and I'm like, and I need to figure out what this is like because I need to see what the world will do to things, right? And I'm like, okay, and he's there, and I'm like, I don't know. And now he's read some of those comments too. So at least I got a light bulb of how he's going to respond to these things. Because the truth of the matter is people are going to say some really horrible things. It just like, so I'm like, all right, can my kid handle this? Can he handle hearing that? And I'm like, all right, like I have to let him put himself out there, and I can be here to support with what's going to happen. But I can't really shield him from everything because this is the world now. Like this is the world. And I'm excited at 12 years old, you're really ambitious and you want to do this thing. So like I'm like, at some point, I'm like, I'm going to stop him from believing and dreaming and wanting to do things if I'm afraid of the consequence, because the consequences and reactions are going to come regardless.
Yeah.
You know? So it's interesting. But let's pull it back to Star Wars because I don't want to keep you all morning. I want to talk about Diva or Deva. How do you say her name? Is it Deva or Diva?
Diva is pretty good, but yeah. I say Deva, but I also am not a pronunciation kind of person. I'm like, however you pronounce it, that feels right to you. I'm always like, that's good. Which I know makes people a little banana pants because they're like, I want to know what's right. And I was like, look, man, my husband and I once had a fight, whether it was at or at, and I never want to live through that again. So you pronounce it however you want.
Well, to all of us 80s gay kids who see nothing but pizzazz from Gem and the Holograms when they're like, but in alien form, it's Diva. So we have been joking that she needs to get into live action, played by Lady Gaga, because I'm sorry, like that's like perfection. And so we're going to put in a request to have a girlfriend created for her that Janelle Monáe can play, because we would really like here at Pink Milk both Lady Gaga and Janelle Monáe in Star Wars somehow. Is this possible?
Oh my God, I wish I had that power. Let me call up KK. Hey KK, can you make sure we get Gaga in the next movie? Yeah. I mean, like, I think it would be delightful. I was, when they were like, hey, do you want to write this Jabba the Hutt comic? I'm like, sure. Can I make a character there? We'd love for you to make a character. I'm like, cool, because I have the character. And when we first got the concept art back for it, I was showing my husband, and he was like, you have brought all of your love of 80s things, right? Because like I told you, I was a big G.I. Joe fan. I freaking love Gem and the Holograms. I even liked, if anybody's out there has not read the reboot that they did through, I think in IDW Comics.
Yep.
Did the reboot. Yeah. Not the television reboot was, there's been like several reboots. I don't know what reboot we're on yet, but the comic book that they did was really fun and really great. It was really brightly colored. So much pink.
Oh, God, so good.
And so like I was just like, yeah, I want something that feels like that really over the top like 80s cartoon character. And then also she eats her ex-boyfriends, which is the best thing. She's just like, I don't like you anymore, and now you're dinner. Yeah, but no, I think it would be great. I think Janelle Monáe would be an amazing in a Star Wars. And the best part about Janelle Monáe and like Lady Gaga is they could probably show up as they are and fit right into the
Yep.
Like, no, that's definitely someone from Coruscant. Like they definitely have the look down. Yeah, I know.
Janelle's already got it was Anoractoid. Is that how she's got a little gold outfit. She's already C-3PO cosplaying. We got this. I just like, man, can you imagine how much fun Lady Gaga must have getting dressed in the morning? She's just like, I mean, I'm also always in awe of her shoes because I'm like, I am not a heels wearer. Like, like if there's any, like I tried it. It wasn't my thing. And so like whenever I see her show up in those heels, I'm like, damn, look at her heels. I always my heels. I'm like, no, I couldn't. No, that's not a thing I'm going to do. I wish one of our co-hosts on the live stream, Chase, is so great. They're amazing at like wearing, like they can just wear whatever they want. I'm like, man, I wish I had the guts you have. I like live in flip-flops, t-shirt and shorts. Like I'm just like
same
that basic. I'm boring. And I'm like, whatever, I'll put a cute Star Wars shirt on. Even that though, it's like black. I have black shirts and white shirts. I'm super basic, whatever. Yeah. But I love that character. It is fun. And yes, literally it is like throw up of 80s cartoons in one character in the best way. Yeah. I got to meet Christy Marks once, who created Gem and the Holograms and wrote some of my favorite G.I. Joe episodes. Oh my God. This is what because I'm me, like I meet like, people like you, and I'm going to have like, let's talk about this. I spoke to, Trace Martez on the podcast once, and I asked, can you decorate your and Ahsoka's apartment? Like you're going to buy a house because you were together, and like, what is your apartment? Because this is what I do. I want to have some fun. But I want to ask one final question about The Edge of Balance. So we were talking about comics. This just came out. I have not been able to read it yet. I'm very bummed because I'm very excited. It looks beautiful. Can you tell me about that experience writing from novels to comics? We had the bounty hunter thing. It's got to be very different. And we spoke at the beginning of the episode about letting go of creativity sometimes. And I would imagine writing comics, it's super collaborative. Like how do you share that kind of that level of creativity with somebody else?
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I'm going to be fully honest. For Edge of Balance, I didn't write nearly as much as Shima did. Shima wrote the script. I was mostly just there to make sure like it fit with the rest of the High Republic stuff because, we have so much coming out on the High Republic side, and there's so much stuff that's done like way in the way in the future, right? Like you guys know about like wave 3, but like there's other stuff, right? And so it was mostly about making sure the stuff came through. But like all of that was Shima. Like they're amazing. Like little Bansheans, like that was the artist. So like it was actually really cool because like I didn't see, because I was working on so many other things, I didn't really see until we'd gotten to past thumbnails. Like I was mostly just going through with the story part. And then when we started to get the art and everything back, I was like, oh, this is so much fun. I'm not an artist, so I tend to not like comment on art, even with the Jabba the Hutt art. Like I was just like, yay, art. And like, you know, the editor would be like, go back and like, oh, this needs to be fixed, or this needs to be fixed, or this kind of stuff. So for me, it's just all about like, it's just all fun. Like I have no words of wisdom about writing.
Well, it's honesty. There we go. I love it. It is different because when you write a script, right, you have like, you know, for those who don't know, when you write a comic book script, you write your panels and then you describe the panel and then you have your dialogue and your caption and then your sound effects. And then like, you have to know, like, you can only have so many panels per page. So you have to be able to visualize it. But anybody who's read a lot of comic books knows that there's a lot of different ways that you can arrange stuff on the page. And even with Jabba the Hutt, like I tend to give the artists like a lot of freedom, right? I tend to say like, hey, this page should be 5 or 6 panels. If you can merge a panel at the end to a bigger panel, that'd be cool. You know, this is for example, in Jabba the Hutt, the first shot is that establishing shot of Jabba's palace, because I'm like, okay, we need to set like where we are. And so, you know, like we need an establishing shot of Jabba's palace, you know, pulled away, you know, like let's get some dialogue of what's happening in, and then we go inside, and that's those sort of things. And so it's a little different because it's also quicker. Like it takes a really long time to write a book, which is why it's always upsetting when people are like, I read your book in a day. You're like, it took me like 5 months to write that. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. But like a comic book, it's like much faster because you're only basically doing half the story. The artist is doing the other half of the story. So I really enjoy it. I enjoy collaborating. I think there are a lot of writers who do not, and they will tell you that they don't enjoy working with other people. But I like it because I like being able to. It's like you get to actually enjoy the thing that you're creating, as opposed to when you're creating a book, it's just about writing the book and making sure the story pieces are there and the set pieces that need to be there, especially in something as big as the High Republic. It's so connected. When you're doing like comics and stuff, I get to actually have a measure of enjoyment from that. So I really love doing comics. I think I understand why people are like, I only want to write comics for the rest of my life, because I'm like, yeah, because you write the script and then you do get something to enjoy back. You don't, it's not just like more work with a book. You're like, here's your revision. You're like, oh, more work. Thank you. So yeah. What is that collaboration like with the High Republic? I mean, like, how did y'all get to like hang out before? Like when all of this was happening, was there like, just let's jive together and get to know people as people? Did any of y'all know each other ahead of time? Like what is that process like? Because it has to be, it has to be so much fun. And it's from a fan's perspective on the outside, we all know that the red laser eyeball, like YouTubers that think they know everything that went down. There was never a plan. They don't know what they're doing, blah, 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 blah. Like Lucasfilm has done a good job, at least their marketing department, of like expressing all of the collaboration that happens. And from the outside, it also looks a little bit like, okay, well, we need to make sure we say we're collaborating this time, because last time we did the exact opposite, and some people really loved it, some people didn't. But there's no way there isn't collaboration with the way this is unfolding so far. What is that process like?
Yeah, no, it's extremely collaborative. So we got together. So Mike Seglain, who's like the head of the creative director for Lucasfilm, had this idea. We didn't really know what we were going to be writing. We just knew we were going to be doing like this huge, like sort of, you know, multimedia kind of thing. And so we met, I knew Daniel Jose Older from before because we worked in YA together, and we were both kind of really into like a push for diversity. Daniel's one of the first time I met Daniel was to get rid of the World Fantasy Award used to have award a statue of H.P. Lovecraft, which, if you know anything about Lovecraft, he's super racist and super misogynist and not a good person. And so he had been part of a campaign to get that removed and change the award, which is now a giant moon with a tree behind it, it's a really lovely award. Yeah. And so I knew Daniel from that, and also from just young adult publishing. Feels big, but it's not. It's like a high school where everybody knows each other, whether you like each other or not. It's a different conversation. I knew Claudia in the same way. I knew her from her books, not from necessarily her Star Wars books, but from her other books that she had written. And then I had never met Cav or Charles, although we had been on a panel together like the summer before at San Diego Comic-Con, which is like the big Lucasfilm publishing panel where like lottie-dottie, everybody gets the party, and you're just like, it's like 2 seconds and you're there, and then you can go enjoy the rest of the con. So we got together the day before we rode up to Skywalker Ranch, and we kind of just hung out and had drinks and chit-chatted, and it was like cool, like everybody, it was like very much one of those things. And then when we went up to the ranch, it was like very collaborative. Like we had the editorial staff from Lucasfilm. We had Story Group was there. We had some folks from some other places. And then like, of course, there's the film crew was there, because you guys see the same 5 clips that keep showing every time we do something. And so it was like really collaborative. And like, we just talked about what we loved about Star Wars and like what we wanted to see more of in Star Wars. And then we kind of came up with these pitches, and then we like went away and wrote. But when we went away, the 5 of us were like, we should keep in touch somehow, because it's going to be important for us to keep talking. And so we started a Slack channel, and like we are in there probably every day, like talking about story. I will say I probably worked the closest with Cav, just because a lot of our stuff has lined up, but also personality wise, we mesh really well. Just we have the same stupid sense of humor and like about a lot of things. And so, sometimes I'll be like, Cav, are you busy? And he's like, yeah. It's 2 a.m. I'm asleep. Time difference is a killer. No, never. But like, sometimes he'll be like, hey, do you have time to chat through this? And he'll be like, yeah, let's talk through this. I'm like, well, and same thing. He'll be like, hey, I want to bounce some things off of you. I'm like, sure. And then like, we'll take things like, hey, like, what are you guys doing with this thing? Like, and so like we've planned, everything's planned out. Like, I know people are like, it's chaos. And it's like, no, it's organized chaos.
Welcome to every single creative person's brain.
Yes. I won't say it's not chaos, because everybody, like, we will agree on things. I'm like, wait a minute. Was it this or that? And we're like, oh, like, if we go that deep down. But it's usually things like who's on first. It's never like, is it a baseball game or a football game? Which are 2 different kinds of conversation. But yeah, I know it's extremely collaborative. I like it a lot. There are some days it's frustrating, right? Because you're like, oh, I need to get something done, but you're not sure if the other person is doing it in their piece of media, or if you need to establish scaffolding. And then sometimes it's like, you're like, oh, you didn't get to this part in your storytelling because you didn't have space for it. Okay, I'll pick it up in my storytelling. And I mean, because we know where everything ends up. We know where everyone ends up. We know, like, if it's one of those things I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you. And so like we have it like planned out. And I think for some folks, it's hard to think of that scale, because if you are not a creative person, sometimes it's hard to understand like how brains spin out plots. But yeah, no, it's been great. I've really enjoyed it. I didn't always think I would enjoy it. There were times where I was like, I don't know, man, maybe I should just go write a book by myself again. But I ended up actually really, really liking it, to the point where I'm looking at more like collaborative types of storytelling to work.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. It's, I mean, I'm a creative too. Like, I'm a graphic designer, like IRL for, mortgage payments. And, but I
wait.
Yeah.
Are you like, wait, so do you design like the mailer that's like, hey, your bill is late? Or do you design?
Oh,
like,
no.
Oh, wait,
I'm saying I have to make money.
Oh,
so I can make my mortgage. Yes.
I thought you meant like, I design mortgage payments.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know someone has to design those coupons, but
yeah. But we were speaking mortgage payments, and we did get to pay off our solar because I live here on Tatooine, so like solar's great. So let me tell you, when we were talking about paying lights on, I pretend like I forgot how much the solar cost to put on my roof, because now I look at my payments and like our last bill, and mind you, it was 111 yesterday. So, right. Our last bill, this is such a boring podcast. I'm sorry, everyone. $200, which might seem really expensive, but this time of year, it's normally like $450 for like an electric bill. So I'm like, oh, here we go. I can make more of those coupons. And if you need me to type out the bills for a mortgage company, I'll do that too. I can get a little side hustle in here. It's all good. But a long time ago, I had written and self-published like a bunch of comics. That's what because I love comics, and yet the creative process is so like I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't work with another artist. Now back then we weren't getting paid, so like there's a lack of commitment sometimes. When there isn't a paycheck involved and it's just a passion project, right? But even with this show, it's been an amazing thing doing the live stream. I went from just Tom and I to these people that I met through podcasting, and we did a roundtable talking about The Mandalorian, which was very queer coded to me, and like it's a very queer show. And so we met all these people, and it's just
it's about found family. So
yeah.
Like, there's nothing queerer than found family. So yeah.
Man, I love that show way more than I ever should have. In all honesty, I was like, I like Boba Fett. Like, he's rad. I don't need to see a show about Boba Fett. Now I also can't wait to see the show about Boba Fett. But
this is what I love about Star Wars, because you're like, I never need another show on Tatooine, and then you're like, whoa, I'm listening.
Oh, I love Tatooine. It is my favorite location. I know, like, people are like, really, we have to go back there? I'm like, yeah, we do. It's amazing. It's home. Anyways, what do we have going on? What do you want? Is there anything you can tell people that you have coming up?
Well, January, we have the end of phase 1, which with our wave 3, it's not confusing at all. But Mission to Disaster is going to be the next middle grade book. And I wrote that. And Daniel wrote, I think Midnight Horizon is his. He's got the YA book, the young adult book. And then Claudia has The Fallen Star, which is the next adult book, or the Del Rey. And that is the end of phase 1. So,
and you let it know we have lots of stuff coming. Apparently,
yeah, there's other stuff that will happen that has not yet been announced. So, I mean, we did announce the phases. I think at one point. I don't know. Like I lose track of the media messaging because it's not my job, and I don't have to. But yeah, I do. I think we did announce that there are 3 phases. And so like there is of course more storytelling coming, but I'm also excited to take the story in new directions, maybe new things for folks to wonder how it's going to play out. And then also, I mean, we're going to break some hearts because that's what we do. That's what's it. When we start on
well, it's already happened. I mean, it's already happened.
Yeah. Let's
be real.
You can't spell Star Wars without death of a beloved character.
Yeah. Yep. No, honestly, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate this was an absolute blast. You are just as lovely to speak to IRL as I had hoped for. So thank you. It was a
lot of fun.
Yeah. It's been great. Where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me. I mean, you can find me on Twitter sometimes at Justina Ireland. I'm not there as much anymore. I am busy. Like I'm writing books. Thank God. Also, the world is in the toilet. So, sometimes it's just better to log off social media. But you can always find me on my website, JustinaIreland.com. And it has all the announcements and stuff like that. And then also, there's a whole Star Wars High Republic section on the StarWars.com website. And that's got some really great character stuff. I think there's some cool stuff coming up there for October, which is Star Wars Reads Month. So
awesome.
If you like Star Wars books, it's the month of Star Wars books. It's spooky month, but also Star Wars month. So that should be exciting.
I love it. That's fantastic. All right. Well, thank you again. And we appreciate you, and we can't wait to see what's coming here in the future. You're welcome. All right. Have a great weekend.
And we're back. That was so fantastic. I am still on cloud 9. It was great.
Awesome.
I know you weren't there, but you were there with
not.
me in spirit because I always carry you with me in spirit in this little ring that I have.
Good response.
It's so funny. We talked about so many different things. I brought up a movie that we watched last night. After we spent some time with the kids, we watched Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar.
It was so funny.
I feel like I'm probably late to the game on this, but it was so funny. And I realized last night, as my husband told me, I'm middle-aged.
I have nothing to say.
At 25, I am middle-aged.
Isn't that amazing?
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's so. Anyways, I go watch that movie. We all, Justine and I mentioned, as you just heard, a little bit about 2020 and mental health, and all of us probably needed it. Even if you didn't admit it, you probably still do. And this movie is a definite pick-me-up. It's just so stupid fun. Mm-hmm. Like, it's so silly and just lighthearted and good-natured, and in its most zany moments, you're like, oh, I'm here for this ride.
And Kristen Wiig is funny. And that other girl, I don't know her name, but
she was in Physical. If you didn't watch Physical, you should watch Physical. Even though I don't really know what that show is about, it's on Apple Plus. If anyone has Apple Plus, I don't know how popular that streaming service is, but watch it. It was great. Justina, thank you so much. I love this High Republic era. It's bringing in so many different things. It's helping me come back to my love of the Jedi, as I mentioned before, and it's been great. Tom is not reading any of it, and that's okay.
No. But I'm sure it's very, very good.
It is great. So next week, Star Wars Visions is being released the same day our next episode airs. I'm very excited.
Excellent. Is this meaning I have to get up early in the morning to watch it?
3:30, babe. 3:30. You're welcome.
Thanks, Disney.
It is on Wednesdays now. It's not on Fridays, so it's going to be weird because it is a hump day, and I'm going to be getting up really early. But all right. So we won't, on next week's episode, we will not be discussing Star Wars Visions because it comes out that day. But this week, Tom, who doesn't like anime as of right now, even though you were excited about that trailer, right?
It did look good. But no, I'm not a big fan of anime.
But the trailer looked rad. But we're going to watch either Princess Mononoke or Qi'ra. I don't know which one I'm going to have Tom watch. Both of them are one of my favorite movies. So we're going to talk about those. So it's not really Star Wars, but we're going to talk about both of those and their influence on Star Wars and how Star Wars influenced them, possibly, maybe a little bit. Probably maybe Princess Mononoke. I don't know yet. I love both. Oh, God, they're so good. Maybe I'll ask Twitter. Should we ask Twitter? Should we let Twitter decide which one you watch?
No.
Why?
I don't know. I just felt like saying it.
Well, I think I might have
I'm
Twitter
not on
do it.
Twitter. Well, I
Yes,
know
you are. You're at Tom_Sips or Tom
That's
Sips
right.
Pink.
Just don't leave me a message.
He doesn't read it. We should probably just whatever. It's there.
Well, it's
there.
funny. I want to keep talking about it.
But next week we are going to talk about something not Star Wars to prepare Tom for Star Wars anime. Like y'all have no idea how excited I am for Visions. Like it looks so good. I'm so excited for something different. There are Star Wars lightsaber umbrellas, for God's sakes. I mean, come on. Does not get any cooler than that. Mm-hmm. So stay tuned next week for that. In the meantime, follow the show on Twitter at Serving Pink Milk. And head on over to YouTube to follow Pink Milk Podcast. Hit the subscribe button, ring my bell, do all the things you're supposed to do on YouTube. We really are going to start working on some content for that. I've been saying it for a year and a half, but it'll come eventually. We just have to have time. Remember all those karates and soccers and all the things we mentioned? Mm-hmm. So it'll come. But Twitter's really the place to find me, mostly me. And join us there. We're growing there and have fun. And until next week, Thomas, you ready?
I'm ready.
Drink up.
Drink up.